Hello, and thank you for joining us on this webinar. My name is Daniel Bianchini, and I'm pleased to be joined by Sam Medlicott, Head of Paid Media at Common Ground. Today's webinar explores how to leverage the power of Google Ads smart bidding strategies within the SaaS industry. During the webinar, Sam will outline how to choose the right starting bidding strategy for each campaign and learn how and when to upgrade the strategies for the SaaS company. If you've got any questions as we go through the presentation, then feel free to type them in the Q&A section that you should have access to at the bottom of your screens, and we'll come back to them at the end of the session. If you've missed the announcement at the start, we are recording this. We will be sending out a recording and a link to the slides and the information later in the week, so if you need that information. Sam, I know you've got a lot to cover in this webinar, so I'm going to hand over to you, and yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Dan. Cool, so I will get started. So just a quick overview of what we're going to cover, just a quick introduction, don't worry it won't be too long, then about bidding strategies, different types, how they can work. I've got a case study to run through to sort of show you some of the results that we've been able to achieve, and basically like how to do some of the setup as well. So with me, I'm Sam, Head of Paid Media. Been working at Common Ground now for over 5 years, and with that, we've been able to deliver lots of great results for our clients, a lot of B2B and within the SaaS industry. So it's, yeah, lots of experience there. So here are just a quick snapshot of some of the brands that we have worked with and empowered and delivered some great results for. And then now I'm just going to, told you it'd be quick, just get straight into what is a bid strategy. Start from the basics and work way up. So with this, a bid strategy determines your ads bid within the ad auction. So with this, whenever there's ad space available, so someone is actively searching for some of the keywords that you want to target, Google holds an auction to decide which ads will be shown in which order and considers both the bids and the quality of the ads. So with this, therefore, getting the bid right is really important for your ad to be shown. So it's not all just about the ad copy, like making sure that you've got a competitive bid is really, really key. So with this, there are 3 types. So you've got your manual, your automatic, and your smart. So I'm just going to run through each of these in a little bit more detail for you before we get into some more of the juicier stuff. So each strategy has its benefits, its pros and its cons. And with this, as the campaigns evolve over time, they get more data, the bidding strategy, the best bidding strategy will change. So it's not something that you can just set up a campaign, be like, yep, I want to use maximize conversions, and then just let it sit there and run forever, because you're not going to get the best results there. You need to test, develop, and learn, and sort of keep things new and up to the best practices as well. So with this manual bidding, this would be something that has been running for years and years and years. You adjust the bids yourself, and you can do it at keyword or ad group level. You set the maximum amount that you're willing to pay and bid in each auction. And then you can choose, like you can either choose, a blanket bid for the entire ad group, or one of the good things is that you can do it, per individual campaign, keyword, sorry. With this, you have such a high level of control. And this is why a lot of people used to really like this and was a bit shy of moving over to the automatic and smart bidding strategies, because you generally lose a bit more control there. However, it's very time consuming to go in. You want to be going in daily, checking your bids, because you don't want to be bidding too low to not get your ad shown. And with this, we are not able to see as much information and data Google has. Therefore, our changes are less informed than what Google may be able to see, so the results generally may not always be the best. With automated bidding, Google uses automated rules to adjust your bids for you, so you have to give some control over to Google, and this is based on the ad's likelihood of getting that click or conversion. So there's 8 types, varying from sort of enhanced cost per click, all the way to sort of cost per view, target cost per action as well. With these, Google can use the additional data points, as that I mentioned, but that aren't available for everything. They're time saving, so you don't need to be going in every single day to check, are my keywords able to be shown, have I got a low bid and my bid's too low? You don't have that. And yet what I've seen is you generally achieve greater results with them compared to the previous manual bidding. However, you do have to give up some control, and to get the optimum results, you do need to have data, because that is what Google is looking and basing its decisions off of. So with smart bidding and automated bidding often get used like interchangeably. However, they're not quite the same thing. Smart bidding uses auction time bidding, meaning it will optimize for conversion and conversion value at each and every auction. So there's 5 of these, 5 of the automated bidding that are also smart bidding strategies, and you can see them here. So with this, they analyze a wide range of factors in real time, such as the search query, user demographics, device types, and adjust the bids accordingly. So it tries to get the best results each and every time. They do adapt quickly to changing market conditions and the user behavior, therefore it can generally yield greater performance. With this, less control than for some of the others. There is a learning period when you switch over, where you can see results fluctuate. So you may see cost per clicks go up and down a little bit where you've made no changes in the account. This is Google learning, so you need to sort of give it enough time to set in before you can make more of an informed decision. But overall, these are really, really good strategies to incorporate into your Google Ads account. So, the different smart strategies. You've got enhanced CPC. This is the sort of baby step from manual to smart bidding. It's very similar to manual bidding, but allows the Google Ad algorithm to make adjustments to the manual set keyword bid. So with this, it generally improves your click-through rate and your conversion rate, which is great. Like I said, it's a good first step into smart bidding, while it allows your data and your campaigns to gather data quickly. So this could be a good sort of first step into it before you go down maximize conversions, target CPC, CPA, etc. They used to have a bidding cap or adjustment cap of 30%. So if you set it to sort of £1, you know it's not suddenly going to jump up to £10 cost per click. However, this has been removed, so you do need to keep a little bit of a close eye that you're suddenly not going to be having your CPC too high that it's no longer profitable to bid on that campaign. With this, also, it often increases bids more than decreases bids for you. But then again, you've got to think, if the click-through rate's higher, the conversion rate higher, is it targeting higher quality audience? And the goal is to increase the height of conversions, but doesn't focus on keeping the costs low. So it just needs you need to keep an eye on it and review it, and not just sort of forget about it, because it still does have its teething issues. So maximize conversions. This is designed to get as many conversions as possible within while spending your daily budget. So it simply chooses the cost per click bid for each and every keyword. Focuses on driving conversions by targeting people more likely to convert. So this is where it uses some of the information that we may not be able to see within the Google platform. You can set a target CPA with this to help guide Google. Often I've found big improvements in the conversion rate can offset the higher cost per clicks, because again, we want to be driving quality traffic rather than quantity, and more people that are more likely to convert. So sometimes this does come with a higher cost per click. But there is a few cons with it. So you can't use shared campaign budgets like you may be able to with some of the other bidding strategies. Because it generally wants to spend all of the daily budget for the shared group rather than what it's allocated. And with a lot of the ones I'm about to talk to, you really need to have accurate conversion tracking in place, because Google uses and relies on the data that you provide it. So if you've not got accurate conversion tracking, it's not going to be able to deliver you the best results it physically can do. with maximize conversion value, and this one is my favorite, so slightly biased, but it looks at bringing in conversions that will give you the highest return. So with this, you can really drive high value, high priority conversions. So this may be if you are tracking 2 conversions, a brochure download versus a book a demo. Generally, a book a demo will have a higher value to you in your business because they're more down the sort of funnel of getting ready to commit to a sale purchase, rather than a downloaded brochure. They're sort of higher up there in the researching stage. I want to tell Google that I want them to be bringing in more people that are fitting within the book a demo category, more likely to convert later down the line than the brochure downloads. And with this, we can often see then the quality improves, the traffic improves, cost per clicks can go up, but then the conversion rates for your higher value conversions go up. You can really drive more of them, and it generally can make a big difference to your overall performance by assigning the values and giving Google that additional information for it to use, because downloading brochure might have a higher conversion rate and therefore a lower cost per conversion. So that's why Google will try and funnel more of them if you don't set the conversion values. But with this, you're telling Google to focus on the higher priority stuff. Again, accurate conversion tracking is really needed here, and you do need to assign values to each conversion, which can be tricky. I'm going to run through the steps later on, because it's not as easy as some might think if it's especially when it's B2B SaaS. Prices vary and can differ between each sale and stuff, so it's not as easy saying like, oh yeah, a book a demo is worth £100. It's not always like that. The next is target CPA. So with this, it used to be a separate bidding strategy. It now falls under maximize conversions, where you can tick a box within the Google Ads platform and just assign the target CPA there. With this, Google will then adjust your bids to generate as many conversions as possible, within the range of your CPA. So you're then looking at Google's then less focusing on the priority conversions, it's more focusing on that bottom line CPA. So with that, obviously, it increases the conversions within your target CPA. It uses your conversion tracking data to reduce the unprofitable clicks, reduces wasted ad spend, to try and keep those costs lower for you. With this, it does need data for the algorithm to work. You can't just set it up from day one. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And you need to be really realistic with your target CPA. If you set it too low, like if over the last 6 months you've been doing, without this, your CPA is about £50, you cannot just set up a campaign and be like, I want it to be £10. You're just not going to get any traffic. You're not going to get the data because you're restricting it far too much for it to run effectively. And then the next is target return on ad spend. It's nearly the same as target CPA, but focuses on return on ad spend instead. With this, you can set bid limits, minimum to maximums, which is great at campaign level, to sort of stop the Google algorithm straying too far. But typical Google cautions against this because Google does wants you to spend as much money as possible, but it can limit the machine decision making, like the algorithms there. So you just got to be careful that you don't, be too restrictive, set your maximums too low. With this, it focuses on driving higher volume, higher return on ad spend over volume. So if you've got different services that are, for example, different profitability, this could be something that you can trial. Then the thing is, with this, again, you need accurate conversion tracking. I know I say this a lot, but you generally need to get it sorted. Like day one, you want to be having it all set up so you know what your campaigns are doing, and Google has as much information as possible. You need data for it to work, and it does take time to set in and improve. So they're sort of the main ones we'll be focusing on. So now I'm going to run through how and when to use and to transition. So I'm going to start off with a case study to sort of give you an idea. So one of our clients, B2B software company, specializes in HR solutions. the goal they came to us with was to decrease the cost per conversions whilst increasing the high value conversions. So again, they wanted more of the booker demos. With this, what we did was introduced new campaigns and used various bidding strategies throughout the runtime. So I'm just going to run through the steps with you. So step one, launch the campaigns with enhanced CPC. So with this, I wanted to be able to have Google give some, might be able to make some changes with the CPC while in the early stages, but I wanted to have some control over it. So this does allow us to gather data quickly and start testing keywords. And with at least 1 week's worth of data, we can begin to transition to more advanced smart bidding strategies. So with smart bidding, you don't want to really start off fully cold, like with maximized conversions, because it can sometimes take even longer for it to pick up and get the results you want. So by giving it like a little bit of information and data, the more advanced smart bidding strategies can really sort of pick up and gain momentum. So step two was set up and run A/B experiment testing maximize conversions. So with this, we sort of go up the ladder. So enhance cost per click, and then it's maximize conversions, and then later down the line we control more like either maximize conversion value or target CPA, depending on what we're trying to focus on with the campaign. So with this, the traffic should be split 50-50 and run until there is enough data that you're confident enough to determine if the campaign is ready to switch over. So with this, you don't want it to like run for a day and you get like maybe one conversion and you're like, yes, definitely switch over. You want to make sure you've got enough data that you're confident that yes, the thing that we are testing, so the bidding strategy, has made enough of a difference that I'm confident enough to switch it all over and send 100% of the traffic there. So with this, typically 1 month of data, 1 to 2 months is ideal. It very much depends on how quickly the data can build up, and generally that is around your ad spend. So if your ad spend's low, it can sometimes take 2-3 months to really get enough data to determine whether it's a success or not. Sometimes if you've got a lot of ad spend, a lot of like conversions coming through daily, lots of clicks, lots of traffic, then it could even be 2 to 3 weeks. So when you're satisfied with the test results, you want to apply the experiment changes to the main campaign. So you don't want to set up a brand new campaign with it. You want to apply it to your current campaign. And then you want to monitor the results and keep the new strategy the same for a minimum of the month before you start thinking, right, what's next? What else can I test? Because you need to allow it to bed in. There's been only a couple of occasions where we've had enough data, confidently switched over, and then once we've switched, the results have taken a step back. So you just want to make sure that you are monitoring. So if you do need to pivot and change, you are able to do that as quickly as possible. So depending on the campaign goal, once you've got it's embedded for like a month, you can then start a new experiment testing either maximize conversion value or target CPA. So with that, you then just follow the previous steps and apply the new bidding strategy when the data tells you. So you'd never, like I said at the beginning, you never can just go, yeah, maximize conversions, that's it, done, I'm out of here. You do want to be thinking, how can I make the campaigns work harder? Especially if you've got a tight budget, you want to be able to see like, right, what's going to make the biggest difference? And for following this process, we can see that it can really make big changes to the results. So some of the results I've seen with it is a 30% reduction in the CPA, and over an 800% increase in the high value conversions. And this is just one client. I've seen it across multiple ones within multiple different industries as well. So we've had it within the property industry, like B2B, SaaS. It can work in a wide range of industries and sort of businesses. So with this, just a little bit more information about it. You can see the conversion rate increased by over 200%. Like there was an additional ad spend, but compared to what the increase on the high values conversions was and the actual ad spend increase, you can see they got a lot more benefit and a lot more value for their money and their ad spend. And with this, the clients then been able to assign additional budget for 2024, which is great. So that's sort of the proof that it can work really, really well. So I'm now going to run through sort of the setup processes to how to set up A/B experiments, and this is in the new appearance. So I know some of you may not have fully switched over to the Google Ads new appearance. There has been some things that are moved around. It looks a little bit like GA4-ish. It's trying to. So I've got the most up-to-date screenshots for you with it. And then I'll run through how to assign conversion values after. So with this, so there's lots of screenshots, lots of arrows to be able to know exactly where to click. So you want to click campaigns followed by experiments and then the big blue plus. You can see it's all nice lighter, less of the dark grey, more light. And then you go over, and this is generally the same as previous. I always set custom experiment and then make sure it's search only. Then you can pick the name and the base campaign. So you want the name to be easily identifiable and briefly say what you are testing. So often I'll put max conversion experiment, something like that, and then that will get added to your base campaign name. So you don't necessarily need to put the base campaign name within the experiment name, just what you are testing. So if you're doing landing page tests, you just want to make sure that you really know what it is. Sometimes you might want to put a date along with it so you know when you've last tested it easily while you've got everything else within the platform. And then you pick the base campaign there. Now you want to make the changes to the experiment, and this is where Google likes to change the interface for no reason, in my opinion. So to find the settings, it's now going to be the little cog there, and then it pulls out this sort of pop-up from the right-hand side of your screen. So very Google Analytics-ish, rather than what I'm used to within Google Ads. But then this is sort of all the same. Go to the bidding, change it to maximize conversions, and then click save. Here, once you're happy with everything, you then can put schedule. And then with that, there's a few additional settings and steps that you need to make sure that you set up correctly to get the best results. So here are the goals, and this will be what Google is trying to achieve for you with this experiment. So with this, it was cost per conversion to decrease and conversions to increase. And then with the experiment split, I generally keep it at 50-50 to try and get as fair results as possible. If you maybe do like 10%, 25%, this could also extend the length that you need to run the experiment for. So I often will do 50-50 to try and get the sort of the best results as quick as possible and make it as fair too. So with this, you select the dates. You used to be able to set the date. So if I want to set up an experiment today, I used to be able to let it stop running from today. That's not the case now. It will then start the next day. So there's no, you can't set up an experiment today and it run today. There is a pushback now, and then you can set the duration up. So with this, the duration can change. I will just, as standard, put it at 60 days. But doesn't mean that just because it is 60 days, you have to let it run for it. You can end it early, apply it, or reject it if you're comfortable you've got enough results and data to sort of make that decision. And then the next one is you want to keep the enabled sync on. This means that if you do make changes to the base campaign, like pause some keywords because you're like, it's got too high a CPA, you then don't need to double the work and then redo it to the experiment. Like you used to with the enable sync, it sort of does that for you. So you're still getting basically the best results that you can with what you are testing. And then with this, like you just need to let it run, give it time, let it gather data. Like I said, typically 4 to 8 weeks to get it. So you can be quite impatient and just think, oh yeah, it's like after 2 weeks, maybe you're like, oh yeah, it should be, I think I've got enough data. But again, I would still give it a little bit more time so you're really confident with the data, because I have seen it that it can fluctuate. Like week 1, it may be the experiment is better. Week 2, no, it's back to the base campaign. Week 3, it's back to the experiment. So you want to give it a little bit more time that you've like allowed the fluctuations to happen and you've got a good amount of data, so you're like, yeah, confident, let's move on. So like this, once you've had enough data to complete its success, you can choose to apply or remove. So, and this sounds quite obvious, but you don't need to apply every experiment you do. If the results aren't there, don't feel like you have to apply it. You can then like reject it, like, no, I want to do it, and test something else. And that's everything around setting up the experiments. And then I'm going to move over to setting up the conversion values. So if you've got any questions about experiments, then drop them in and I can answer them at the end. So with setting up conversion values, first you need accurate conversion tracking. Like, again, at the end of the day, if it's not accurate, like if you've got your conversion tracking, you're not 100% confident in it, go away today and make sure that you are, because you need to have it to be able to do any of this stuff. So here's some of the things that you can track, and this is just a snippet. There's so much more things that you can do, but you go from like getting contact, request a quote, a free trial, a live chat interaction, document download, newsletter sign up, webinar registration. So you've got all these things that you can track within your Google Ads platform. However, as we've sort of talked about, not all conversions are equal. And with this, how I like to group them is high intent to acquire a service versus low intent to acquire the service. So with this, I want to be telling Google more about like get people who want to request a demo over a document download. So with this, you then need to assign values to each conversion, or you could do it back here in each group of conversions you set it to. And with this, there's two ways. So you can do it the sort of very accurate way, or you can do it nominal way, and I'll show you both. So with this, you first need to understand your customer journey. So with this, do they download a white paper, followed by undertaking a free trial, then request a quote, and then they go on and have that sale? So obviously within the sort of B2B SaaS world, it doesn't always follow like this, but on average, what does the general journey look like? And that's what we need to be focusing on. So with this, I then like to work out what conversion volumes are needed to be able to get that one sale at the end. So with this, if I want that one sale, I need 4 requester quotes to be able to achieve that one sale. With this, to get that, I then need 10 people to undertake a free trial. And then with the white paper downloads, I need 100. So these are just sort of basic, simple numbers to get to illustrate, but you can make them as more or as complex as you need them to be. And ideally, if you've got data, like speaking to your sales team or anything like that, or within your Google Analytics platform across the board, you can really input it in here. This is what I would recommend doing, because the more accurate you can get it, the better. And then thirdly, you need to work out the conversion values needed. So for me, with a sale, if it is worth £10,000 and I'm willing to pay £5,000 to get that sale, I then work out that for me, I'm happy to pay £1,250 for a request a quote. Within that, for the free trials, it's then £125. And then with the download a white paper, it's £1.25. So with this, you can see that, and then when I'll be able to input into Google, I'm telling them request a quote is so much more important than downloading a white paper. And once you can see this, you can really achieve much bigger and more higher quality conversions, data results. And even then when you're tracking and you're getting more of those requested quotes, getting that information, that data, Google will then be able to pump more and more of those types of people and users through to your website. So therefore, the conversion values you would need would be this, and this is what I would then input into Google. So this would be within the settings section of your Ads Manager. And then if you are unable to work the exact numbers out just like that, you can then add nominal values. And with this, there would be some trial and error to understand the differences and the most important for you. So like as mentioned previously, download a white paper may have a higher conversion rate and a lower cost per conversion. So this is why Google could tend to pump more of those conversions to you rather than request a quote where you may only get a handful of them a month compared to the download paper and white paper. However, those handful bringing in a lot more business than like 10 white paper downloads, just as an example. So with this, I generally use a scale of 1 to 100, with 100 being the most highest and most important conversion to tell Google. It's less about the monetary value here, but just showing Google the priority focus. Then with this free trial, I'll put 10, 20, 30, depending on the sort of likelihood is to move through to the next step, and then assign a smaller value to the download. With this, you don't want to just sort of set these conversion values up and forget it, because you want to make sure you're getting the balance right within Google, because it may be if you don't give enough difference within these numbers, Google may still think a download a white paper may be sort of similar to a free trial, or like not give you really the sort of bigger increase down the funnel that you want. So you do want to potentially test these, and I just sort of set them up, monitor for a month or two, see what the new conversions are coming in, and then make the little tweaks here and there as you see fit. But this is sort of how I would work it out and start it out as it's a good starting point. I wouldn't go into trying to do like 1,000 this, 2,000, 5,000 and one. I think stick within the 1 to 100 range, and then utilize that, really understand how Google works and what it can then deliver to you. And then with assigning target CPA values, just like assigning values, you can use them like the maths to figure out what the maximum target CPA would be for one of your conversions, so what you're most willing to pay for it. So therefore the cost below would be like this, and that would be what the maximum I'm telling Google I want to pay. Ideally lower than that, but you can sort of build your way down to that. You should do these, use these as a starting point and then aim to achieve below. But you can't, as I said earlier, you can't be like, oh yeah, on the last 6 months of data, I've got £500 CPA, now I want it to be 100. It doesn't work annoyingly, it doesn't work like that. So with this, just like testing different bid strategies, you can use the A/B experiments to test different CPA values. So you can sort of then stagger it down and go, okay, cool. If my target CPA is, or if my current CPA is £10, but I want to try £8 target CPA, split the traffic, give it some data and see, can I actually achieve that? Or is it just not going to be able to deliver any traffic because the cost of clicks too high, something like that. So again, A/B experiments in general, best friends with how you run your Google Ads campaigns. So with this, just to recap between different, so using maximize values allows Google to focus on driving high value conversions, whereas target CPA can allow you to focus on keeping the cost per conversion below the maximum, allowing more conversions for your ad spend. And then I've just got a little bonus tip for you around branded campaigns, because they are slightly different. So for branded campaigns, we recommend testing maximize clicks and target impression share. So with maximize clicks, with branded campaigns, you know people that it's a higher intent audience, but that they want you, they know you, they want you. So you don't necessarily need to go down the maximize conversion route. And with maximize clicks, you're trying to drive as many clicks as possible, and obviously it's with your branded name, so that's what you want. With this, you generally have lower cost per clicks, which is great, and it can increase your search impression share as well. So the learning period of this is shorter, and it's really good at driving traffic generation. So when you know it, like just to reiterate, when you know they are high quality because they are searching for your brand name, and you know you've got loads of competitors bidding on you, this may be something to pivot towards rather than maximize conversions. However, it doesn't actively go after conversions, so you want to make sure that you've got the landing pages correct, and the ad copy is right as well. And then the next one is the target impression share. So with this, you can tell Google what your ideal impression share would be. So for branded, it might be 85, 95%, depending on your how your competitors are bidding on you. I wouldn't go for 100%. And with this, you can see cost per clicks can really skyrocket. And so you want to make sure that you're not then going to bid too much for that tiny 5%, which could be then utilized for your non-branded campaigns. With this, you can set a max bid, which is great. Again, doesn't necessarily optimize for conversions. If you set no limit at all, it can skyrocket. It can go through your budget quite quickly. So if your brand campaign is often limited by budget, this may not be the best one for you. You may want to go for maximize clicks. And if you set your limit too low, you risk restricting and reducing performance, which is sort of a common theme throughout it. So you've got to give Google a little bit of control, but also keep an eye that it doesn't go crazy. And then that's everything.
Oh, thank you very much, Sam. Really appreciate that. That's a lot of information that we've just gone through. 80 slides of information on smart bidding strategies, which is like, even I was writing down some notes as I was going through that. So thanks very much for that. We've got a few questions, a bit of time as well. So if you do have any final questions that you want to add into the Q&A, please open them and put them into the panel now, and we'll start going through them. But I've got a couple just to kick us off with. And I wanted to go back to the case study if we can. In step 3, sort of say about being satisfied with the results and stuff like that. What would you class as being satisfied with results? I appreciate that might change from campaign to campaign, but is there any sort of threshold that you'd be looking at to say, okay, I've got my data in, I've got this set of results, I'm satisfied that I can move to the next step? Is there some sort of threshold or something that you look at?
Yeah, so it does really depend on the business, the account, and sort of how many conversions do they get per day, per month, etc. But generally, you don't want to be making a decision if there's a 10% difference or 10% increase, positive or negative. You want to be looking at maybe like a 30%, 40% plus, as long as, again, you're not basing this data off of the difference of 1 or 2 conversions. Ideally, 10, 20, 50. In the ideal world, you'd be like, yeah, it's 100 plus conversions more, or the CPA has dropped massively by 90% consistently over each week. But you sort of need to understand the information you get from your account to be able to be like, yeah, that is for me, for my account, that's a big change, but never base it off of 1 conversion or a 5% change in results.
Cool. All right. That's really useful. Thank you. And another question that's come in is also related to the case study. Is you mentioned following the previous steps and apply the new bidding strategy when the data tells you. And I think this just sort of goes back to what you just sort of talked about. I mean, is there anything specific we should be looking at in that data that tells us what to do?
For me, it's when what you're testing about. So with the bidding strategies and experiments, it's has my number of conversions have gone up, has my conversion rate increased, my cost per conversion decrease. Generally, when I optimize for campaigns, I don't really focus on impressions or clicks, because with them, I could have clicks decrease but conversions go up because I'm delivering higher quality traffic, and that's what I always focus on. So when optimizing a campaign, I focus on the conversion metrics. When determining an experiment, I generally focus on those two. So there is obviously some changes where you may want to focus on clicks, but in general, think about what the KPI is, what your goal is, and focus on those metrics.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Another question that's come in is related to where you talk through the experiment A/B within the settings. So on step 4, you sort of showed the settings page sort of graphic. I mean, is there any settings there that can be used across industries that you recommend, or do they need to be unique on every campaign that we're running?
No, those ones are generally you can set for across the board. I wouldn't sort of play about that. It doesn't really matter too much within the industries as such. So yeah, with the settings that when you're doing the experiments, you want to make it sure it's the 50-50 split and stuff like that.
Cool, thank you very much. And the final question that's come in at this point is, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway, because everybody else needs to know. How many experiments can or should you run at the same time?
I really wanted to ask you what you think it is. So with that, I generally have 1 experiment maximum per campaign. So you can't really experiment multiple things at once on 1 campaign. It's focused on what it is, whether it's a landing page experiment, a bidding strategy experiment, new ad copy. You want to do maximum one per campaign.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And that's all the questions we have at this point. So unless anyone comes in the next few seconds, we will call that a day. Thank you very much, Sam. Really appreciate it. There's loads of information there, and we'll be sending out a link to the slides and to the deck in due course. Thank you very much for attending, and have a great day.
Bye.